debt, fear, relationships, the children, your health, work. When you want to give up and you need courage to continue, take heart and stay tuned as R.J. Jackson writes her signature message of hope on your heart. You don't have to live where you're dying, and you don't have to die where you're living. Like every show of Conversations on Courage, you'll be informed, inspired, and encouraged to find the courage you need to succeed at home, work, and in your business. Get your pen and paper. You'll want to take notes. And now, your host, R.J. Jackson, the Courage Giver.
Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Conversations on Courage, where we have stories of success strategies, stories of confidence and courage that are guaranteed. That's right. Guaranteed to saturate your heart and cause you to live your best life ever. And live it now, because now is the time. After all, you know what I say? There's greatness inside of you. You're a game changer, and the world awaits your greatness. I'm R.J. Jackson, that's right, the Courage Giver, the Comeback Queen, your host for today, and I'm honored to be with you and have you here with me. Now, I got to get the record straight because people always ask. They always want to know, R.J., what does that stand for? They're surprised when I always say, hey, that's my name. Don't wear it out. The truth is that really is my name, but if you want to know what RJ stands for, then I have to tell you what I stand for. I stand for authenticity. I stand for the gospel. I stand for honoring other people. I stand for living life on purpose and with passion. That's what I stand for. And it's true. RJ is really just my name. Now, I got a whole lot of names. People call me all kind of things. My grandchildren call me Sweetie. My children call me Mom. I got people who call me Sister. I don't know. I got all kind of names. Pastor, Madam, whatever. But here's what I know. I want you to call me friend, because that's what we are. And I am grateful for you. So thank you so much for being here. We have a conversation on courage. Ready for you. It's going to be a fun conversation, as always, and we want to invite you, as we've already told you to do, get your pen, get your paper. We're going to give you some information that's going to cause transformation in your situation. And I know you need a little bit of that right now. Don't we all? Well, good thing we got a great guest for you today. A featured guest, because you, my friend, are our special guest. So our guest today is the professional development trailblazer, Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas of Brian Thomas Speaks. He is an expert manufacturing professional with proven success across multiple disciplines. He's originally from Dallas, Texas. He's the founder of his own company. He's an entrepreneur. He's a speaker. He's an author. He is an amazing man, trailblazing the way of greatness. His goal is to help you get through your challenges, those that are seen and unseen, to help you live and pursue your greatness. So he declares, this is what he says. I'm telling you, you got to hear it. He says that the challenge that you're facing today is just a pit stop on the road of success. So today we're going to talk about that pit stop. We're going to talk about those challenges. We're going to talk about that greatness that's inside of you and what steps you need to take to keep the world from waiting, because the world awaits your greatness. So I say, Brother Brian, thank you so much for being here today. Whoop, whoop. We're honored to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, RJ. I don't know if I can live up to that wonderful introduction you gave me there. You put the pressure on me.
Hey, I just say it like I see it. And I see you all over the world doing what you love, and that is calling people up to their greatness, not out of their stuff, but up to their greatness. And I'm honored that you get a chance today to share with us what we need to do to live a life out of greatness that's already inside of us. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Let's have lots of fun, because that's what conversations are all about, exchanging information and having fun. So before we actually get started, I want to say to those of you who are listening, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the broadcast today. If you're listening on the recorded broadcast, we say thank you to you as well. But those of you who are listening live, we invite you to be a part of the conversation today. And you can do that just simply by letting us know you have a question, and we will be more than happy to answer your question. So, Brian, as we jump right in, here's what I want to ask you. My first question for you is that it's about we, the people, because we, the people, are always looking for a trail in life. We're looking for somewhere to go. But you are out there blazing the trail. And so what I'd like to know, you're making a path. You're finding the way to go. Take us back. Take us back on your trail. Take us back to chapter 1. What inspires you to inspire the masses? What motivates you? And tell us how you got started.
Wow, that's a loaded question.
I know.
I guess, I'll say this. I'll talk about where I started first. Where I started was really in the church as a kid. I would do scriptures, and I learned that the longer the scripture, the more claps people would give me. And so for me, it developed this love for speaking. Now, as a young child, I didn't know, it didn't have these special messages or anything. I didn't have enough life lived. But I always had this passion for words and a respect for words. And as I got older as a poet, I'm naturally just a poet, I started realizing that my life experiences mixed in with my motivational speaking was impactful to people, but I didn't know what to do with that. And so really where I got my start was in a weird place. I worked in manufacturing when I got out of college, and I started doing workshops for colleges on teaching students who wanted to be like engineers. I would teach them professional development skills as they were going into their career. And that led me to having confidence to really just start speaking more publicly. And it kind of led to being a little bit more inspirational, more motivational. And now it's at the point where not only do I still do my professional development workshops, I also travel the nation and do virtual conferences of just pure motivation and inspiration for people. And where I get my inspiration to keep going is that it's a requirement. I don't see going after greatness as something I negotiate. I don't see it as an option. And so one of the things I learned is if you can, and this is especially for the audience out there, when you make the transition that something becomes a necessity and not a want, your life will change. The things that we need, we get. We need water. We need food. We need shelter. We need clothing. And everyone that's listening on the call has that. And you have that because you identify those as your needs. So my question is, are you able to take things that you want and make them a need and go get your greatness?
And that is a power-packed question. Woo! Are you ready? Are you willing to go and get it? So you said you started getting it in the beginning. I got to go back to that because you said in the beginning, and you said in the beginning was the Word. You said that, okay? In the beginning was the Word, and that's where you started with the Word. And then you realized how powerful words were, because when you gave words of encouragement, words of truth, even as a child, people applauded that. They said, yes, tell us more. Yes, give us more. And that's what people need, the Word. And so as we talk about the Word and our words, I just want to remind people how important the Word is and our words are. You know, there's a saying that says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, that's a big lie from the pit of hell. Words will kill. And people need, in order to live their life of greatness, they need to hear those words you are speaking, those words of encouragement, those words of inspiration. And so you mentioned that you go all over the world sharing those words of hope, those words of possibility, those words that say this is not an option, it's a requirement. And I understand you actually even have your own company. Tell us about your company. Tell us about your blazing the way, going across the world and reaching the masses. What's that like, being able to take, and I got to go back to something else you said really quickly. You said being able to take something that's naturally in you, a gift that you've been given, and then take it and give it out to the world who so greatly needs it. What is that like to do that every day?
You know, I tell you that to really be operating where you're supposed to be and truly making a positive impact in somebody's life, you almost don't breathe without it. I talked to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, wow, I'm at the point where I don't breathe without this. I suffocate when I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing, because I know, and I want your audience to know, that if you do what you're supposed to do, think about this. If you do what you're supposed to do in life, you will change people's lives. And the life that you may change the most is yours. But if your life ain't changing, if your life ain't changing for the positive, you might not be doing what you're supposed to be doing.
That's called purpose. And people often want to know, how do they define, how do they understand, how do they live their life out of purpose? How did you define, discover, and decide to live your life out of purpose so that you can breathe and give life and hope and possibility to other people?
I felt my purpose. My purpose really came through knowing that a life was being positively impacted, and that I went to like some schools and I would talk to a couple colleges, and I realized, like, what if I didn't show up today? What if I didn't do what I was supposed to be doing? What if I wasn't here in this moment, and that young lady that just got this information that said, wow, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to go tell my mother I love her. Mm-hmm. I truly had a student that said, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to go tell my mom I love her, and I'm going to start applying for scholarships because I want to go to college and make my family proud. What if I didn't show up that day? Mm-hmm. Stop being so selfish. We cannot be selfish as people. When you're doing what you're supposed to do, that's actually the most unselfish thing, because it's not a natural thing to do what you're supposed to do, because there's so many options of taking the easy road. This is about going down the path of least resistance, the most resistance. This is about blazing trails. And when you blaze that trail, you have no idea who's over there waiting for you and needs you. That's what keeps me in my passion and my purpose.
Wow. Isn't that exactly what purpose is, understanding that life is bigger than you are. And like you said, we got to stop being so selfish. And for those of you who are listening in the Western world, the American side of life, we are a selfish people. It's all about us. Everything in our culture says it's about you. You're all that in a bag of chips. But let me tell you something, because even as Brian is saying, you might be all that in a bag of chips, but you're nothing without some dip, because even chips taste better with a little bit of dip. And people are the dip in our lives, and it's really about people. So I just want to encourage our listening audience, just as Brian said, what would happen, number one, if you showed up, and number two, what would happen if you didn't show up and live life on purpose? How would that affect other people? Now, that's something to think about. And Brian is challenging you to think about that. And I'm jumping on the bandwagon. What would life be like? So, Brian, let's talk about, as you just really introduced us to the next question that I have for you, because it's all about the C word. There are a lot of powerful C words. For me, it's courage and confidence, but for you, it's just what you finished talking about. It's about challenging. And so let's talk about the word challenge, because you are extremely motivated to help as many people as you can face their challenges as they pursue their greatness. So tell us, what does it take to face that challenge and pursue your greatness and live life out of purpose, as you just so graciously put it?
Wow. I'm going to keep this real simple, and I hope this is not too simple for anyone. But this is something that I really want you to understand, and it's a concept that I want you to really grasp and apply to your life today. I was at a university speaking a few weeks back, and they asked me, Mr. Thomas, what is the best quality that one could have in reaching their greatness? And I answered the question by saying this: your ability to withstand pain. I want you to know today that pain is part of the process. But today, you get your degree, you get a certification in professional pain management. You are a pro at managing pain. Pain is part of the process. Pain is necessary. And guess what? When the pain is over, oh, it feels so good. But it only feels good if you can make it through it. So today I want you to know that pain is something that you look forward to, because you know that a change is taking place. And when you change, you are being educated, and those around you are truly being educated. And education is necessary for growth. And that's how we're going to get to our greatness.
So we're going to get through our greatness by going through some pain, some tough times. Is that what I heard you saying?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's so simple, and it's like, oh, that's so cliche. Well, probably it's cliche because it's right. But see, the thing is that you're looking for a fancy answer. Like, some people look for a fancy answer, so then they can be like, oh, man, that sounds so good. No, I'm giving you the simple answer. Sometimes greatness is simple. Doing what you're supposed to do is actually easy. It's easy to say, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. But only when you get into the mind of greatness. You got to have a greatness mindset. If saving someone's life is not your mindset, then you're not in the greatness mindset yet. Because if you were in the greatness mindset and you had a chance to save a life, you would save it.
Isn't that what our purpose allows us to do? Help save someone's life? By partnering with them and reminding them of who they are and that there's greatness inside of them. And that goes right back to what you said. In order for that to happen, we have got to stop being so selfish. And when the pain comes, we get a little bit more selfish sometimes. And we find ourselves saying, I ain't doing that. Oh, no, she hurt my feelings. Oh, no, they didn't come to my conference. Oh, no, they didn't accept me. That hurt. And we stop. But what you're saying is we have to take that hurt and continue to blaze the way to find the greatness at the end of the path. Is that what I hear you saying?
Absolutely. And the thing is that you don't know when the pain's going to stop. The beauty of greatness is like a blind trust. A blind trust goes a long way. I just commit. You got to commit. When's the last thing you committed to out there? When's the last time you said, I'm just going to go? I'm not going to worry about the obstacles. I always say, what if I told you your dreams will come true if you took one step? Now, what if I told you your dreams will come true if you took 1 million steps? How you answer those two questions is what separates the good from the great. Greatness is not achieved in the ease of accomplishment, but in the execution despite the obstacles.
That can be kind of scary, brother, and that kind of like, it sounds good, but that produces like a lot of fear in people to be able to take not just one step, but 1,000 steps in pain. And sometimes fear robs us of our greatness. We just like push back instead of pressing in because of that, what you just said, blind trust that's required. That is scary. So how have you taken fear and courage and put them in their place in your journey of greatness? Can you tell us how you've allowed fear to play a role and courage to play a role in your journey?
I would say this is first to understand, for those that are listening, to understand what fear is. Fear is something that is likely or possible to cause pain. And so let's put this in perspective, right? If fear is something that is likely to injure you or cause pain, and pain is part of the process to reach your greatness, then there's nothing to fear. You're right where you're supposed to be if you're a little afraid.
Fear. Wait, say that again. Then there's what?
Nothing to fear. If you are a little worried, if you have a little bit of doubt, if there's a little bit of concern, then you might be right where you're supposed to be. I always tell people, RJ, and this is the true story, I only take career-ending jobs. If I have an opportunity to grow within my career, it has to be a job that I feel like I may get fired if I don't perform within weeks. Because I know that pain, that stress, that pressure is going to turn me into a diamond.
Wow. So you allow fear to move you into your greatness. And I always say that fear is running from something that's not even after you. So, you're feeling the pain before the pain is even there sometimes. And what we do is quit. But what I hear you saying is feel the pain and press into your greatness.
I can't, right? I mean, we have an ironing board. I have an ironing board, right? And I have to take that heat from that iron, and I have to apply it with a little bit of pressure to my garment. And that is what gets the wrinkles out. Something has to be applied to it.
Yes.
So we got a little bit of wrinkles on us, right? We're all human. You got a little bit of wrinkles to get to your dream. You got to overcome that. So when is the last time in your life that you applied a little bit of heat and a little bit of pressure to the situation, so then you can get those wrinkles out and go get to your greatness.
What a great visual and a great analogy as we talk about greatness. Listen, I'm R.J. Jackson, also known as the Courage Giver and the Comeback Queen, and you are tuned in to Conversations on Courage, and we are having an amazing conversation with the trailblazer of greatness, the professional development trailblazer himself, Brian Thomas from Brian Thomas Speaks, the speaker, author, and trailblazer, wanting you to know that greatness awaits. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. We'd like to invite you to be a part of our conversation. If you'd like to do that, you can call us now at 701-801-1211. That number again is 701-801-1211. If you're listening to this on a recorded broadcast, thanks so much for joining in. We invite you to be a part of the conversation too. All you have to do is go to rjjackson.live. That's rjjackson.live and be a part of this amazing conversation. Brian, thank you so much for sharing what it takes, what you've gone through to pursue your journey of greatness. Now, as a business owner, because you are an entrepreneur, you have your own company, tell us a little bit about your company and what your mission is with your company.
Well, my mission is to, one, positively impact lives around the world, but to help people face the challenges that are seen and unseen on their personal pursuits of greatness. So I do workshops, seminars, keynote addresses, virtual conferences. I'm finishing up my second book. I have an album that just came out. I have motivational T-shirts. I'm trying to do everything that I can and use every avenue that I can to get positive messages out to people to go after their greatness and don't look back. You were born to be great. You were born with greatness. The question is, will people look within inside themselves, find it, and release it onto the world?
And as I often say, the world awaits your greatness. And it is time, my friend, for you to release it to the world. And yes, the journey may be scary. You may be afraid. But courage is being afraid and going anyway. So, Brian, for those who are a little scary, for those who say, yeah, that sounds great, yeah, because you're probably 50 years old, you've already got it established, speak to that for me. Give me a word of courage that we can leave with those who are listening. And tell us a little bit about your story. Like, are you in your 50s? Like, because sometimes people go, yeah, you're older. You don't know what it's like. I'm a millennial, and I'm this, and I'm that.
Yeah, I would say, well, I'm 33. I'm 33 years old. Just turned 33 on last Tuesday. So 33 in 1 week here. I for those that may say, well, you know what, Brian, you got it together. Well, let me tell you this. One, I don't have it together because I haven't reached my greatness. And two, what little bit of success I may have, it didn't start this way. RJ, I don't tell many people this, but I was born, it was just a joy to be born because the doctor said I would be brain dead upon my birth if I was alive at all. When I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with spinal meningitis. I was blessed enough within a few hours to get it treated and didn't die. As you can see, had to get myself together, learn how to walk again, and do all those things. I was born with a slight speech impediment, RJ. So you see me here as a person who can articulate at a high level. But I had an issue with words to the point where I was put in special education classes when I was a kid. When I was in high school, I was going into high school, my father left. And my mother looked at me and said, you are the man of this house. When I was in high school, I worked 40 hours a week. after I got out of baseball practice and got off at 1:30 in the morning while I was in high school just to do my homework and then wake up at 6:30 to go back to school. This has not been an easy road. I went into corporate America, RJ, as a young man with no example, and somehow figured out a way to matriculate my way through the process and grow to now being a plant manager of a $90 million operation here in the automotive industry. This ain't easy, but it's necessary. The question is,
easy, but it's necessary. Hold on. This ain't easy, but it's necessary. Go ahead. The question is?
Yeah. I mean, the question is, like, what is necessary for you? If you're listening to this, what is necessary in your life? Is it necessary for you to watch those extra 3 hours of television? Is it necessary to get those extra 3 hours of sleep? Because if it is, keep doing what you're doing. But if it's necessary for you to be great, then do what you're supposed to be doing. I said at the beginning, RJ, your need and your wants, RJ. Them needs and wants, RJ.
I'm just saying, somebody just said, ouch. And that's okay. We got more than Band-Aids for you. We got healing, transformation from the inside out. And as Brian is sharing this with you, we're not just going to leave you cut and dry. We want you to know we are here to help you see it through. But you, my friend, have to be willing to take the first step. Turn off the television. Put the phone down and live out your greatness. Brian, I love how you said, hey, I have not made it yet, but if I can paraphrase what you said, but I am living out my greatness. I did not allow my story to end, but I allowed my story to bring life to other people. And by the way, you don't tell many people, you just told the whole world. And I want to say to you, happy birthday in 1 week, and thank you for being authentic, for being transparent, and for being, I got to say this because you said you went into the corporate America industry without an example and learn how to do it. And this is what I heard you say. So I'm going to just translate that because I'm a little bilingual here. I'm just going to translate that a little bit. You said, I went into corporate America without an example and became an example. Became an example.
You better stop that.
That's
now.
What I heard you say. And everybody has a story that's supposed to become an example to someone else of what greatness looks like. Thank you for becoming the example as a young man. You didn't use the excuses. You allowed them to become your trail for your greatness. Thank you. Thank you.
You have my absolute appreciation, and I promise you this. For those that may be listening, that's a beautiful statement to say I went from not having an example to being the example. But the challenge I have for everybody that's out there is what is depending on you to be that example? Who
There's that
and
C
what?
word. Say it. Go ahead.
Somebody. Somebody out there. And the beauty of this, RJ, is that we may not even know who they are. The people that I impact now at this point in my life, I don't even know who they are. But somebody's listening to the calls. Somebody's listening to the videos. Somebody's watching the Facebook Lives. Somebody's watching the Instagram videos. Somebody watches the YouTube videos. Somebody's buying the T-shirt. Somebody's reading the book. Somebody is doing something that Brian Thomas, the professional development trailblazer, has put his stamp on. Have you got your stamp on something in this world so one day somebody can open it up and say, wow, thank God this person wrote this book. Thank God this person put out their story. Thank God this person created this podcast because I needed it. But because we're selfish, we only do those things if we can see the recognition. Greatness is about going after it, even if you don't see the people you're impacting.
You said put a stamp on it, and that, my brother, is a forever stamp. That is a forever stamp because it will forever leave a legacy and an impact in people's lives. And as my mentor, Zig Ziglar, said, life is not measured by what you have. Life is measured by what you give. I always tell the ladies to tell them to put a ring on it, but I'm going to tell you today, the listening audience, to put a stamp on it because somebody is dying to live. And you, yes, you have what they need in order to succeed. So get up and get on the trail and live your life of greatness. Now, as we prepare to close, Brian, I got to know you've done some amazing things. You got great things going on for you. Quickly tell us what's next. Tell us about the Greatness Awaits tour, where you're going, where you're headed. Tell us about that quickly if you can.
Well, here like real quick, I'll be on a plane headed to Texas. Be speaking Houston Friday night, and then Saturday in San Antonio, and then in Atlanta on June 10th, and then continuing to grow in the coaching space. I've been working with people one-on-one. So for those that are interested, I do conduct one-on-one sessions for those that are going after their greatness. That's kind of something I'm really pushing a little bit more, is a little more intimate sessions with people. And then the release of the book. The book will be out next month. Why wait when you can create 6 steps from the page to the stage?
Woo, why wait when you can create 6 steps from the page to the stage? Bam! All right, we will be looking for it on Amazon, on all the platforms where we can find it, so we can't wait. We can't wait. Why should we wait? You just said, why wait? Come on, get it. So with all this great stuff going on, I want our listening audience to be able to connect with you, ask you about the tour, come to the tour, find out about coaching, purchase your book. What would be the one best way for them to connect with you immediately today?
The easiest way is just www.BrianThomasSpeaks, BRIAN on the Brian, BrianThomasSpeaks.com. And if you want to get a little fancy, BrianThomasSpeaks.com/shop to get to the shop. But just BrianThomasSpeaks.com will get you access to everything. And on the social medias, especially Facebook and Instagram, I'm at Brian Thomas Speaks. So we don't have to get too fancy here. Brian Thomas Speaks. Put it on YouTube, Brian Thomas Speaks.
Brian Thomas Speaks. So however you want to find him, you have no excuse. Brian Thomas Speaks, either BrianThomasSpeaks.com, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You will find this brother of greatness at Brian Thomas Speaks. And I want to encourage you and give that other C word. I want to challenge you to connect with Brian because the world awaits your greatness. Brian, thank you so much for implanting information that causes transformation in our lives today. I want to ask our listening audience to go out and take action. And don't forget that courage is required. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to stay connected with you. Perhaps we need to just come back and do this again.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Just give me a call.
Awesome sauce. So to those of you who are listening, thank you so much for being a part of our guest today and enjoying and joining in on the conversation on courage. Don't forget, keep up your courage and stay blessed indeed.
Thank you for joining us for Conversations on Courage. Now that you've been inspired, informed, and encouraged, it's time for you to take action. So head on over to thecouragegiver.com. That's thecouragegiver.com and connect with RJ for a personal conversation on courage. She's waiting to help you take the risk you need to succeed.